Ruckman together to discuss natural gas and electric power aggregation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Like you said, we're going to discuss natural gas and electric power aggregation. This just seems like it's an opportunity to kind of get on the same page with some other municipalities and entities that might increase our bargaining power and clean some things up as far as those agreements are concerned. So, gentlemen, where do we want to start with that?
Thank you, Mr. Ruckman. I will invite Mr. Snavely from Palmer Energy. Palmer Energy is our broker, as you may remember. Tonight, Council, you'll probably be going through two readings, or the second reading, excuse me, of resolution. We'll turn through here to resolution 2026
56 and 57.
56 and 57. This has to do with our aggregation of natural gas and aggregation of electrical energy. Right now, we have, in this last year, and you remember we partnered with Fredericktown, and I'll remind you of the intense timing it took for us to partner with Fredericktown as we had to lock in those rates. Those rates are ever moving. Our goal is to expand that, and you might ask why we would turn over this kind of authority to, as the municipality, as the county seat, why we would turn this authority over to the commissioners. But this body saw already how difficult it was for just one city and a village to coordinate that simultaneous locking in of rates. So if we were to expand this program into all the municipalities in Knox County, and then to expand it into other townships, because the benefit of aggregation is more customers. With more customers, more meters comes more buying power. More buying power comes from more savings. More savings is obviously more money in ratepayers' pockets, and that's what we want for your constituents. It's the people in Knox County paying less to their energy provider and keeping more of that money for their household needs. So if we can maximize the power of that aggregation with our neighbors in Knox County, then also we can utilize the partnerships we have with OML, Ohio Municipal League, and CCAO, that's the County Commissioners Association of Ohio. And I'm going to turn it over, and both of those organizations are a partner with Palmer Energy. So I'm going to turn it over to, again, Bob Snavely, and he's going to walk you through not only the process of how that would work, but also you have, council, and I'm sure we can hand this over to the media as well, a copy of these, county by county, how this is borne out in some of these other counties. And we have a very distinct inside look at how this has worked in Licking County, as they have kind of done this just a neighbor to our south. So, Bob, take it away. Talk into the microphone, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
No? Yeah. Okay. My name's Bob Snavely, as Tanner mentioned. I'm with Palmer Energy. We work for the County Commissioners Association and the Ohio Municipal League. And Tanner did a great job of explaining why we recommend, whether it be a city, a village, or a township, to cede authority to the county. It's
There we go. Hopefully everybody still heard all that.
That's better.
Yeah. Okay. And so, you know, the breakdown by resident, and you can see the commercial meter there as well. And the reason those numbers, $353 is estimated savings per commercial meter, and the reason those numbers are a little bit different is because the price to compare for residential is different from commercial. But the idea here is to just group as many participants together to try to save the most amount of money for the resident. And we've seen, as you can see, we've seen a lot of success with that. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
What's in it for the utility companies? Just, is it easier for them? I mean, that's a lot of money to save. Why do they do it?
Well, it's the state's deregulated. So the utility side is, you know, poles, lines, things like that. That's all regulated. So everybody's got to pay that. Don't really have much of a choice, although you can petition the PUCO for changes and so forth. But this is the deregulated side, so the commodity side. So when deregulation happened, the utilities don't really necessarily have a say on that side. And so that's what allows us to kind of do this thing for each, you know, on an individual basis, on a business basis, and then also for aggregation. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate this information. I've also always in favor of finding a win-win partnership with our county and regional partners. So this is all the good news. Is there a downside? I mean, obviously we are releasing some of our authority. It's like, would we have a veto if we felt like the county was doing something it shouldn't be doing? Help me understand kind of the other side of this.
Yeah, when you cede authority, you can you cede authority to the county, and yes, the county would sign the contract on behalf of the villages and cities. But what we've done really well in Licking County is include all the villages and cities. So when I come to review, and same thing with Zanesville and Muskingum County, when I review RFPs, I let the cities and villages know. We usually meet at the commissioner's office to go over everything. But most of the time there's representatives there from the different cities and village, and they're always invited. In fact, in another week or so, I'm going to Muskingum County, and the city of Zanesville will have a representative there at that meeting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
So if I remember correctly, we did kind of a one-year thing because of the high prices. And this would be, do we know what kind of a contract they would want to try to negotiate? Have you understood that at all?
Yes, sir. So we have to go through the RFP process again. That's right. You're right about the one-year deal. And one of the reasons there's two reasons. One, this is the most favorable pricing at the time, so you're absolutely right there. But also, we didn't have enough time. Once you cede authority to the county has to become an aggregator, and that process through the state takes time. And we weren't sure at the time if there'd be enough time for you to cede authority, for Fredericktown to cede authority, and then also go through that RFP process. And so now we're on top of that, and you know, our timing should be good in order to achieve that goal.
So if that doesn't happen, we still are able to negotiate something?
Yeah. If you decided not to, yeah, it's just you wouldn't be able to benefit from the group, so to speak. But you know, from a timing perspective, we're way ahead of where we were last year. Way ahead.
So you mentioned Fredericktown and Gambier and us. Are there any other villages interested?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to Centerburg Village Council meeting on Monday. We're going to go over this. I think the plan is to if everything goes well, to put it on the ballot coming up in here in November. So it's
What
first.
happens if you don't live in a village? You live out in the country. You don't get any advantage?
So it's a ballot issue. So what we've put it on through the commissioners countywide a few times, and it's failed. And the reason why is, and we've seen this through the numbers, is co-ops tend to vote against aggregation, not out of malice or anything like that. It's just they think it may affect their co-op, and it's on their ballot. And so they tend to vote against it. And if you look at, you know, the pass-fail, the percentage served by co-op versus utility is almost how it loses. So it's a big hurdle that we've tried to overcome, and we've done a lot of things. We've reached out to the co-ops. The co-ops have sent out letters to their membership explaining this. It's just kind of hard to get through. But from a township perspective, each individual township can put it on the ballot as well. And so if they want to go about it that way, we're happy to help them with that. They can cede authority to the county. That's in Muskingum County, we have Falls and Perry Township that are both participating through the county program, so they're welcome as well. Same process.
I'm over my time at this point in time. I plan to give this a second reading this evening and ask for a 10-minute committee meeting at the next legislative session, please.
And you've got into your next committee meeting already, and we're going to stick with you, utilities, for amended section 919-11 of the codified ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Snavely.
Thank you.
Yes, we're moving on to codified ordinance and amending section. This falls under utilities, and I believe we have Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Brown going to talk about this real quickly.
The amendment has to do with backflow prevention and regulation and registration. And we are required to do this under the revised code and rules adopted by the Ohio EPA. And originally, this was done, the regulation and registration was done out of the water and wastewater utility. But with the city inspector, we believe that it would be a better home in his office. And here is the city inspector, Mr. Zimmerman, to speak on that.
Like we've talked a couple times about this, and then this went through the utility commission as well. This just helps, I think, in order to permit and regulate and track our backflows to protect our water system. Anybody that is a commercial area or they have a chance of when pressure drops to contaminate our system, that they have to have a backflow. And if I'm correct, it's what, well over 1,000, right? Yeah, we have well over 1,000 in the city. So it's been needed for quite a while. And the most important thing is we've already have the permits made up on OpenGov, and we're going to get those rolled out once we get a couple little hurdles over. The most important thing is we need to have this because we're in violation with the EPA. We need to get this program going and be able to monitor these units and make sure they're tested each year. That's what code enforcement will do. We're not going to be out there actually testing the units. They have to have a licensed individual come in and do that. We will inspect the tags and make sure that everything has been addressed. And if it isn't, say they have one fail, then we would give them like 30 days to get it fixed before anything, drastic would happen or anything like that. For instance, like there's one place in town, I believe they have 11 units and 8 of them failed. So this gives us the ability to monitor this and to be able to help them and guide them getting these repairs done.
I would also note for everyone listening that this has been through the Utility Commission at this point and was recommended to us as council. And as Mr. Zimmerman said, we are in violation of EPA. So as a result of that, I would like to suspend the rules and move this forward since it's already gone through all of the rigmarole through Utility Commission. And I obviously would prefer not to be on the wrong side of the EPA. So if no one has an issue with that, that's my plan this evening.
Any issues?
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
We're going to move now to Jacqueline, land use and development, to discuss ordinance 2026-11 vehicles.
Is there some gentle rain sounds happening right now? It's on. I just talked softly. You just talked softly. Oh, it's the mic. I thought we were having white noise.
Council, I will remind everybody to make sure your microphones are on. And if you have your microphone, please do not tap it or rustle papers. Yeah, or do what Jay's about to do.
This ordinance that we had to set aside last legislative session to get some corrections put in. Law Director, if you'd like to explain some of those corrections.
What we did was we took council's feedback and we did several things. First of all, we had at one point last year broken up the definitional section and moved part of it into this section. And what we did was we took the definitions and moved them back into the general definition section for 1309. And from there, the next thing was we had inadvertently removed one of the powers dealing with specifically junk automobiles or untitled and inoperable motor vehicles, which was causing the city inspector and the property maintenance enforcement officer some additional difficulties in dealing with cars. We restored that. That is from another set of changes that was inadvertently made back in the end of 2025. Finally, the last significant change, other than some spelling errors and things that we corrected, was that in the dealing with the enclosed trailers, which was a significant concern of council because the sort of lack of specificity and instruction to the city inspector and the property maintenance enforcement officer. And what we did was we removed a lot of what could be considered sort of discretionary and made it very specific as to what is and is not expected with the trailers, which was my understanding from council was what they wished to have us do. Those are the main sort of changes that occurred in the most recent draft.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any comments about this? Does anybody have any questions?
I think this can be fairly,
I think that's the one that works.
I think this can be fairly and evenly enforced throughout the city. It actually even helps out like if they have more than one trailer, if they have a boat and a camper, which a lot of people do. The way the old one was written, you could have one, not or, but just one. Or and, I'm sorry, just one. So this one will free it up a little bit to where, if you have a camper and a boat, not only one of them can be stored in a certain area, then the rest have, the other one would have to be in a improved surface on the side or behind the home, so.
Any questions?
Yes, do you, as code enforcement, do you feel that this is a good version as far as enforcement and
That's a good question. Yes, I do. I think that this can, like I said, we can enforce this fairly and across the board. It's a lot easier to understand than what we had before, and it actually lessens it a little bit. You're always going to have a handful of people that just don't understand why they can't have a utility trailer in their front yard, and that's just the way it is sometimes. But we will work with them and get them, get it figured out.
Well, and I think the key thing, I think the key thing in my mind is that if this doesn't work and you see that over a year, or we need to tweak it again, we can bring it back, right? I mean,
yes, I have.
That's the benefit of this. This is not like we're etching this in stone for.
No. By all means,
So,
this is an ordinance that everyone has worked on, and we've listened. And we've listened to the public and everything about this. So, overall, I believe it's getting received fairly well. There's a couple that have concerns, and it's just because of the placement of certain trailers. But this is not going to be something where, we're just going to lay the law down. We work with everyone, and we'll continue to work with people. That's not an issue at all in my departments.
My rule number one, 25 plus years I've been city council, is don't pass an ordinance you can't enforce.
Exactly, and this gives us the ability to enforce it.
Council, if I may, one of the things that we have encountered since code enforcement has really ramped up has been, we don't want to put code enforcement or code enforcement officers in the position of playing King Solomon while they're on the street. What defines, you know, in the eye of the beholder, what is this or what is that? And I think that was kind of the conversation that we had at the last council meeting. And I'm pleased to see a very defined, well, definitions.
Yes,
section of the-
everything is spelled out.
Great word for that.
This is not subject to interpretation. This is all spelled out, and this is, I believe, even much more enforceable than what we had before, and much more fair.
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
We're going to adjourn the Land Use and Development Committee. We're going to move now to Employee and Community Relations with Ms. Keener to discuss orders 26-16, reclassifying exempt professional positions. Ms. Keener.
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance we're going to talk about is regarding City Inspector, Human Resource Director, and the Public Works Director. And I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Salyers. And would you mind just taking the mic closer to you? I hate to say it, but you're actually a little hard to hear.
Let's get that on camera, everybody.
He's going to take that as a
5
challenge.
minutes.
All right. So this is just reclassifying the pay grades. If council remembers that we have established certain pay grades for certain exempt classified individuals in the city. One of those is a director position. That is the city inspector. Human Resources Director also needs to be reclassified in that, as well as the Public Works Director being in charge of 4 different divisions. We feel that the Public Works Director, and depending on which version of this that you have, it may say Public Utilities. Make sure that we are, your version of the agenda says Public Works Director. We are specifically referring to the Public Works Director. So we are assigning all of these positions to a pay grade of 10. That would put all of the director level positions in that pay grade 10 range, with the exception of the city engineer, whose licensure puts that individual in a pay grade 11. Additionally, all of standard across the city is we have longevity. So down in section 2, longevity is a standard thing with the exception of our director level positions. This just adjusts longevity for those directors. So this would be kind of the tandem thing that you would do. With the Human Resources Director and the Public Works Director, this does not really affect them. They already are in this tier. But with the advent of the city inspector position, when that position was created, that was left in that, we'll call it tier B longevity scale. As it is a director level position, it should be in longevity tier A. Are there any questions? This is more housekeeping really than anything. But I know that compensation can be a fickle beast, so.
Well, we still have the whole compensation package that we designed. And
Yes.
I think that if we want to refer back to that, we'd be able to see where these plug in. So that might be something to have handy.
And we can provide that to any council member. Important to note is that the min, mid, max, that scale has not changed. We are just readjusting and reassigning people within those pay grades.
Well, if there's no questions, I will just
Yep.
do this one tonight. And probably, if there are questions over the next week, have another committee meeting at our next gathering.
And this is an annualized thing, so there's no big urban rush on it.
Okay,
Well, and that's all.
we'll stick with Ms. Keener. to update the Knox County Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've asked Olivia Toth to come and kind of give us a little bit of an update on what we're seeing happen with the CVB. I thought it would be great timing between Memorial Day and the 4th of July. We are in America 250 year, so there's a lot going on, but obviously her role encompasses far more than America 250. But just thought that it would be great to hear from our partner as we're going into the summer.
If I could just note that at 6:45, we have the public hearing about the rezoning, and we will need to stop this immediately at 6:45 so that we can go to the public hearing as advertised.
That's why we gave you 2 extra minutes.
Wow, I feel special. Thank you, Amber. Like Amber said, my name is Olivia Toth. I'm with the Knox County Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I just wanted to bring you guys an update as far as America 250. I want to thank the mayor for reminding everyone this weekend. It was America's birthday, coming up with his wonderful shirt in the parade. Fantastic branding. But just to level set of what's going on, obviously at the state level, there's a lot of initiatives happening, and from the beginning, we've really been meeting with the state for the last 2 years to talk about what does it mean locally as the CVBs and different municipalities lead this kind of effort. And so you will find 5 of our murals across Knox County are featured in the Murals Across Ohio program. You'll find that Ariel Foundation Park is featured on Ohio's Creativity Trail. And when you see these kinds of trails or things that are being led at the state level, obviously those are things we're talking about here locally, but these are trails that are going to live on through Ohio Tourism Association as we go past America 250. So being a part of those trails right now is important, but later down the road, as they continue to push those initiatives past America 250, it'll be important that we're on that. Just a side note that we'll be working closely with Ariel Foundation Park this summer to release their Trail Pass program, and that's kind of like a digital pass program that you may have seen us utilize through our coffee trail that we have across the county. And so working with local partners like Ariel Foundation Park really makes sense to us, of course, as a large park, an asset, kind of a destination for people to come and experience. We wanted to just take a bite off and see what that would be to create this digital pass with them. Thinks it just makes sense. So if you don't know, I hope you do, that our office is located at American Heritage Park at the CA&C Visitor Center. So this summer, we'll be working at the state level to initiate Picnic in the Park. And at the state level, they wanted to see picnics across Ohio. And so for us, it just makes sense to, really activate that property, with some more things coming down the line. Lady Liberty just installed, and now we're going to have Veterans Walk moving. And I think it's just more and more that we can let the public know this is a really great place to gather on the trails, gather in the park, and what does that mean, and how do we steward that property as the CVB. We'll also be working with our friends at Ariel Foundation Park to bring an Ohio Goes to the Movies event. That'll feature Bye Bye Birdie July 26th, an ode to Paul Lind, Mount Vernon native. And then we'll be working with the Shade Tree Commission in the fall to identify where's the best place to plant a heritage tree. So that's a project coming down the line that we're excited to see. And then we'll continue to work with our historic partners, whether it be the Knox County Historical Society or the Woodward Opera House, any of our locations, again, destinations that people don't always get to maybe tour or get a behind the scenes look at for Ohio Open Doors. So kind of that red block that you can see, those are statewide efforts that we're making sure are leveling up to what the state is doing. Here locally, we're working with the library to do Knox Voices, consider that a digital time capsule, if you will, to capture local stories. And so we believe we'll be extending that through 2028, as we know that Knox County will be turning 220 years old itself in 2028. So it just seems like a good project to keep moving on. We're working with the Historical Society for new rat cards and some new things for them. We are still working in collaboration with Experience Mount Vernon on the utility box project, and should have 2 new utility box projects wrapped by First Friday, or the next First Friday, knock on wood. And we'll also be activating in Knox County really small but really cool quilt art in downtown at a cool spot. So we're really excited to see that take off. And across the villages and the city, we've initiated a banner program. And so if you flip to the back of your sheet, you'll be able to see some banners that you could see out in Centerburg, Fredericktown. And we're waiting on one more village to get that solidified. But once that's all done, then we can see that banner program across the county. And other than that, we just want to work with partners, whether it be a historic event, an event that highlights art, history, something that really defines us locally, who we are. You know, it's hard to stick out in 88 counties when everyone's celebrating America, but it's really important for us to just stay in tune with what our story is, how we contribute to America's story, and make sure that's the thing being released and being marketed out. So, talked as fast as I could.
Oh, you did great. We've got tons of time. So are there any questions from council?
Where's the closest barn to here?
I'm sorry?
Where's the closest barn that's painted to here, like in the 2000?
Right now, I believe in Mansfield, up north. Yeah.
That was kind of cool. They had all 88 counties had it. Yeah, the bicentennial.
Yeah, and honestly, from a CVB perspective, we were all kind of disappointed they didn't want to go that route again, and they're just doing one in each region, so there'll be 5 barns across the state. So.
Thank you.
Olivia, thanks a lot. I know you've been working really, really hard on America 250, and it's your favorite subject.
Yeah.
And thank you. You're doing an amazing job.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Apparently, that is just very short committee meetings for me today. So we have time.
6 minutes.
We have 5 minutes to wait
We can all color our picture.
before we go to the,
We're gonna get an update on the streets.
okay,
We have 6 minutes, we can get some of that done now.
can you do that in 5 minutes, Brian?
No, I wanna have a thorough, we wanna have a thorough discussion on
Okay.
this. But if you wanted to start, it's up to you. 6:45. we gotta cut. Bruce, I just went to this other email, the link in that email, and it's easier because you can just click on here, click on it, How do you get over to that? I'll show you. You go back to your email, you click on that.
Not a space here. Mine's in a safe somewhere, so my kids can't get to it. I should just turn it in.
There you go.
The pressure's on, guys. We may have to just like go to the back. I could just have to buy a new laptop. Oh. I don't know why I've never done that. She's so pretty.
Okay, okay, I would've, yeah.
Oh, you know what I actually should go over is that, so nobody thinks about doing that again.
Unnerving.
There we go. Thank you, Lynn, for thinking outside the box.
We have 2 minutes?
Make it 2 minutes.
Because I knew,
Oh, yeah, no, you, for sure.
I knew we were great. I didn't know we were quite this bad.
Oh, you can hear everything, and I always forget. I'm so glad he reminded me, because I really do, I'm such a fidgeter.
How much of this got done? That's the other question, though. Just like, are we even reaching the amount we should? Yeah.
We have some streets that are
Yes, yeah.
Emmett Drive is literally breaking. Emmett Drive has just got huge areas where it's just broke all of the pavement.
Now 6:45. We're gonna call the Land Use and Development Committee together with Mr. Jacklin to do an ordinance on rezoning. It's a public hearing.
All right, if anybody would like to come and speak in favor, please proceed.
Hello, my name is Blake Rourke. I work with the company that is the engineer for O'Reilly Auto Parts, who's looking to rezone this piece
Can you
of property.
speak a little louder? I can't hear.
Do you want me to start over?
Yeah, if you hold it up there,
Okay.
better.
Do you want me to start over? My name is Blake Rourke. I work for Own Engineering. We're the engineer for O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're looking to rezone this piece of property. The reason they're wanting to rezone is to update the store that's currently there. With this update, that's better. With this update, we'll be able to, one, increase the store size by about 20%. But the bigger thing that it's going to do is it's going to make sure we can ensure safety of the public and the customers. It's going to allow us to grant 2 entrances and exits. And then we're also going to be able to correct the ADA that's there. And then we'll also be, cleaning up a piece of property that has been neglected a little bit. So it'll bring a bright, new, shiny store, and then we'll also correct some safety concerns that are out there. Can I answer any questions?
Can you talk about the buffering that you're gonna do between you and the other properties?
Yeah, so we're aware that obviously we'll be backing and have neighborhood or residential homes right near us. So we're going to make sure that we maintain a 30-foot buffer, and we're going to put some nice trees and landscaping and everything along there to kind of break it up between the homes and the business. One thing about O'Reilly Auto Parts is they are not a high traffic commercial provider. You come, you get your parts, you go back home. So we understand that everybody around there is our customer. So we want to make sure we're being a good neighbor. We'll also, there's not going to be any lights or any obnoxious signs or anything that's over on that side. So there'll be a nice buffer between the business and the residential homes. Anything else?
I don't think so. Thank you very much. Is there anybody that would like to speak against this?
Comments from council?
Are there any comments from council?
How long do we think this project will take? What?
Sir,
Oh, yeah.
could you
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking I should have asked you before you walked away. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
How long do we think this project is going to take, and do we have any idea when it would start?
So we currently have been developing plans for it. So as soon as the rezoning is approved, we'll be able to submit plans. And then once those are approved, O'Reilly's likes to move pretty quick. So it would not linger out there. It would be something they would start, and it would be a phased design. So basically, the store would stay open, that's there now, and then we'll develop the new store, and then the very last thing will be the connection of the existing entrance into the new parking lot. So the building will stay operational all the way through until the new one is open.
Excellent. Thanks.
Does that answer your question?
See any issues with the Coshocton Avenue, or you don't? That's a very busy.
And that's why we want to have.
It's an important road for our city.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the nice thing about being able to add a second entrance and exit. It makes it easier so you don't get stacking. It makes it easier for everybody to get through the parking lot that's going to be there. So there'll be 2 ways to get in and 2 ways to get out.
There won't be any need to shut down Coshocton or a lane of that for any extended time or anything, because this is pretty much all off the road, obviously.
Correct. Yeah, there'll be a little bit of work to connect the new entrance onto Coshocton, but it'll have very, very minimal impact. We won't be tearing up any of the road. We'll just be matching our entrance to existing grade. So we'll just be tying in.
This may be. Oh, am I off? Yeah. Wow, I was probably off that whole time. This may be a silly question, but do you guys have like a dust mitigation plan for as you're kicking up all this construction, that it's not blowing straight into the windows of the people at 802 Coshocton?
Yeah, so again, we're always conscious of our neighbors, so we will do the best that we can. So we will have dust mitigation efforts. We'll put up, silt fence and stuff like that to make sure there's no washout. And most contractors now, anytime there is gravel or dirt, they will keep it watered so that it doesn't create a hazard for anybody.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council? This hearing will stay open until 7 o'clock, because that's what it's planned for, and people have the opportunity to come and speak. So until 8 o'clock, we're just sitting here until time expires.
You mean 7?
So, 7 o'clock.
My office has received no negative correspondence from the community, to my knowledge, and I don't believe engineering did either.
No, engineering has not received positive or negative correspondence. I think several of you may have been at the planning commission meeting. I believe that passed unanimously at the planning commission. So.
Thank you. I think they said that this would be occurring relatively quickly after it's approved.
After this is approved, and I'll look at Mr. Brewer for this, since this is a residential business that is taking over a commercial business is taking over a residential property, one thing that we would look to do is expand the TIF district on Coshocton Avenue in that area. Is that correct?
Yeah, it will, we would want to capture this within the existing TIF. What we have to do about that, we'll take some research and some calls to some of our outside counsel.
That particular area is not in the TIF, and that may require legislation that would expand the TIF. Now, how far it would expand the TIF, it's minuscule at that point, but.
Rob, if we have them do a lot combination and they use the parcel number for the eastern parcel, would that automatically create an expansion?
We could do it, we could potentially do it that way. Want to make sure there's not any contrary law out there to prevent us from doing that, but that would save council from having to put more legislation on.
I'm going to give Lacey credit for this idea. This did not come from me.
That would be much better than, yeah.
Mr. Jackman, we were stalled for about 5 minutes, and we still have 7 minutes left. So.
Doing our best.
You have a song and dance or anything?
Yeah, maybe next session.
Didn't rehearse anything. Yeah.
Yeah, my mic was turned off for the first quarter. It was turned off, and then my laptop was up, so I didn't see the red light was off.
It's still hard to entertain, I think. You guys agree? I don't. You are still difficult to hear, believe it or not.
And when you are looking down, I can't read your lips, so I.
sewer. To have its first reading tonight.
Less than a minute. Used to have these for a half hour, it took forever to get through. That time. It's now 7 o'clock. We're going to adjourn the land use and development with the rezoning hearing. Now going to move to streets and public buildings for an update on road construction projects. And I got a person talked to me today who lives in the Grad. And one of the exits from the Grad goes in an area to a one-way street, and it's one-way streets block that. And so he doesn't know how to get out of there, so.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah,
is this-
Mr. Ball is gonna give us some updates, but that's a good question. They're gonna actually have to go back on Mulberry to get out of there.
Well, they can go on, so the parking lot has two exits. They can go onto Mulberry and then go south. When Mulberry's also closed, so they could potentially go up and then go out Burgess Street. So if they have specific questions, send them our way, and then everyone should have got a door hanger that has the contractor's phone number, so they can, if they have an issue and they're stuck somewhere, they can call or just, hey, talk to one of the guys, or Jason Epley from my office is on site most days. So yeah, if they need to get out, the contractor's required to help people get back and forth to their homes.
He just didn't want a ticket for going the wrong way to one-way street, so.
So quickly, council, I received an email a while back, and I have had questions about this as well, but what construction, road construction projects in the city have we completed, and kind of what is to come? And so I've asked Mr. Ball to give us an update and give the public an update on where we're at with some of these things. And I know we got 14 minutes, Brian, so you need to move quickly with us.
Well, we'll get warmed up. Okay, I gave you 3 pieces of paper. So we have, the first one is the list. I think one of your questions was the list of streets, and I didn't keep a copy of it. That's helpful. The list of streets that are in the 2025 resurfacing program.
Get you.
Yeah, I gave all of them away. There we go. So everything should have asphalt on it, except the schedule was to be on Venture Drive today and tomorrow. I did not make it to Venture Drive to see how they're doing after all this rain. So as you look at the slate of projects, obviously Coshocton Avenue work was only sidewalk on the south side, starting around Catherine Street. So that work, that part is completely done. So what we're going to do next is several of these streets have, some of them, not all of them, have line paint. So we will be, because if you're looking at Chestnut Street, that just has little temporary dashes. So we've got to go back when we've got good temperature. We'll put the thermoplastic paint that actually burns into the road, and we're going to realign a little bit of parking there. So that's going on. So this is the list that was is rocking out here in 2025. And then we did, at the last meeting, we added Burgess Street from Sandusky Street to the railroad tracks. That is under contract. Tanner has signed the contract with the director of ODOT, and that project has been funded. So the crews will start doing some sidewalk work and prep work. We're going to round that corner on Burgess Street that we talked about. So that's going to start soon. I don't have an exact date. Additionally, ODOT, we had our pre-final inspection on the Mansfield Avenue shared use bike path, and there's a few small items the contractor's required to clean up. So they should be moving back up there there's some cracked sections of sidewalk, some areas of grass didn't grow, a few minor things. So they're going to be moving up there. And then they also have to touch up the temporary line paint in that area. Obviously Burgess and Hamtramck Street. So on the Hamtramck part, the water line has been installed, and then they're working on installing sewer. The crews are picking up the bricks on Burgess Street, and then we will move in to Burgess, and then Burgess Street has stormwater, wastewater, and water underground, so it'll be a little bit more construction effort than the first. And then once they move to Burgess Street, within the next couple weeks, the concrete crew will move into Hamtramck Street. So they will be doing curbs, probably curbs first, then either sidewalk or road base next, and you'll really start to see a difference once we get the concrete crews in. So we're coordinating around the clock with residents, trying to make sure their access, that trash is getting picked up. So we're really trying to work to keep everybody accessible and coordinate. So if you have those kind of questions, send them to us, send them to our PIO. We'll get with the contractor. If there's any kind of emergency, they can obviously call dispatch and they'll be connected to us, but email works too. We expect to open our bids for our chip seal program this Thursday right here in this room, 11 o'clock. So we're hoping for competitive pricing. We have 3 different companies that have asked to participate in the bid. So we're hoping to get those numbers, and then that will lead us into kind of the future of where we had at our service commission. We started talking about what are we going to do for the 2026 paving. So everybody says Mansfield Avenue is number 1. I think we've read that, we got that part. So John May, with the Assistant Director of Public Works for Streets and Stormwater, is going to be working with Jason Epley, my assistant for construction, to go get the list of paving. I've given you a preliminary list that we had. These are the ones that did not make the 2025 list, but we'll bring that back. This is something council will need to vote on. So if you're ready, this is something we could probably start the readings for the 26 program maybe at the next council meeting. We're a little bit, we have to be careful on the funding because there's other things that still have to come out of the asphalt world. We do have West Sugar Street. We've got funding through the Riverside Park Community Development Block Grant, and we're working to design that project and make some tweaks to minimize the cost to the asphalt account. But that is a project where the neighborhood has asked for curb and gutter sidewalks, and that will result in some pavement, and the pavement is part of the match to get the federal funding. So that's a variable. The chip seal is a variable. We also we do not have the numbers yet from headquarters ODOT. We have to provide our cost share for the State Route 13 relocation project. So within the next 2 months, they should give us the number, and we have to put that money on deposit in August of this year to fund the project for construction. So there's some variables there. We are working to bring that cost down. So in Saturday's paper, we published a bid notice for the funds we got from HUD, which came from Congressman Balderson. So we have funds to demo properties, and by doing that for the Route 13, there's 8 existing structures, all are vacant. Those bids have hit the street on Saturday, and we'll get as many buildings that we can with that federal aid, and that should also bring our ODOT cost share down. So that'll help open up, hopefully, some funds that we can put toward street resurfacing. A little worksheet, we kind of hand this out every year. It's the middle one is the life cycle. So we have 92 miles of streets, 14 miles currently state roads. That will go down when we relocate Route 13. So we will have more that we're responsible for, less miles of state road. And then you can kind of see like our investment in asphalt gives you the life cycle of how long the paving cycle is. So when I started, we put $400,000 a year. That puts us in excess of a 50-year cycle.
How many years?
50 year, 50. So 50 years, we would put in 432,000. Now, we've been directed to think about reducing spending. So one of the great alternatives, we always go back to ODOT and ask for more money. So on tonight's agenda, we are proposing a application for the Small Cities program. Typically, we put that toward a construction project, but we've reviewed the rules. We do not have to put that into a construction project. We can put that toward an urban paving project where, of course, we'll have to touch up crosswalks and make things handicap accessible for roads that are on the federal aid network. So that is not just the state roads, but Mount Vernon Avenue, South Division Street, Mansfield Avenue, several streets through town have enough traffic, they're considered federal aid routes. And we've recently worked with Cameron Keaton, our county engineer, and our partners at Morpsey and Corpo to get that updated and relevant to today's traffic, right? So that's something that we can use that as a catch-up, because we can get $2 million toward an urban paving program on those routes. And if you may say, well, this road looks worse than that, right? But if you were on like Gay Street or Mount Vernon Avenue, those streets are getting rutted, and for the amount of traffic, some of this is going to need to be touched up. I know we've received some complaints about Sandusky Street, the section north of Chestnut. It has some very poor road-based conditions, shallow culverts, and so when you get the cold air in those culverts, they kind of punch up out of the road and break it. Well, ODOT will pave the state road on their cycle. So they have their own spreadsheet, their own calculations. When it comes up on their list, they will pave it. They will not pave it early, but we could put that section of Sandusky Street, we could do some repairs to that because that is a federal aid route, that North Sandusky Street. So that's something to think about. It is on for tonight. You do not have to pass that tonight. The deadline, I believe, is the middle of June. So if you want to go more in depth at the next meeting, we can. We would need it passed at the first meeting in June. And we can provide ODOT has a neat mapping tool on how to see the federal aid routes. So I did not bring an exhibit because that really wasn't Mel's question. So that's my part. Other questions? There's probably other jobs you're curious about.
2 or 3 people call me, talk to me about Venture Drive.
Yes.
And it says sidewalk closed, but it doesn't say the street's closed. So they go down Venture Drive and they hit gravel. Why isn't there a sign there saying street closed so they don't go down there?
I mean, I believe they had road closed signs. I mean, it must have fallen over. When was that?
This weekend, people
Okay.
were driving down there. Actually, one lady drove across the gravel.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not closed. Maybe you can drive across gravel, but
Yeah.
but we should have had a sign there so
Mhm.
people know they can't go down that road.
Yeah, we'll check on that. We had inspected the signs several times in the phase 1, and some of them had fallen over and blown down. That may be the case. But yeah, we'll check on it. But they should be installing asphalt this week. So
And I also don't understand, there's a sign there that says hospital entry or something, and there's a sign right before Venture Drive. I don't know where that goes to.
I don't know either.
You know, it was confusing to me. The signage right there at Venture and Upper Gilcrest needs some work.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get after the contractor first thing in the morning. Other questions?
If we are simply applying for a grant, is there a downside that's making us wait another committee meeting?
No. It's just if you have more questions, we would need to, it would be up to a 20% match. If they like our application, the state can apply the toll revenue credit, if you're familiar with that. They felt that the toll road has excessive funds, and they've been handing those out to refund those tolls. So we have been the recipient of those. That would bring our cost share to 5%. But up to you. It's totally up to you.
I think that makes sense. I don't know why delay something we would really need to do to try to get some money? So that would be resolution 59 tonight if we decide we'll move that through quickly.
Yep.
I did have another question. Can we use funds from outside of the asphalt line to put into that cost share for State Route 13? Like, we don't know what our cost share amount is going to be. Is this something where
Yes.
there's potential that we may need to, like...
For sure.
I don't
So-
know, I'm not the auditor.
Well, one thing we're going to do, Dan and I have worked on very closely, is you will see some additional legislation. So the Sandusky Street effort that goes to Burgess is a reimbursement. And so we are running that through the Sandusky Street TIF district. So we're going to spend that 180,000 that you shifted at the last, I think, was at the last meeting? Right. We will spend that money, then immediately Lacey will ask ODOT to reimburse us. Then Dan will come back and ask you to bump up the appropriations because that money will come back. That money then can be used to, that 180,000 can go toward this State Route 13 relocation project. So we are able to use stormwater money. There's a small amount of water and wastewater. There's the whole project is in the Sandusky Street TIF, which part of the creation of that TIF was for this project. And then we would have asphalt funds. So we're going to try to put a market basket together. And that was why the criticality of getting the other project through ODOT done first, then we can get reimbursed and we can reuse those funds back into an ODOT project.
Thank you.
Very good question. Other questions? Come on, Lennon, I know you have a question.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we get a lot of questions on the streets. How do you get from point A to point B?
Yeah.
And people need to know that.
Right, and we're trying to get the contractors are required to give us a schedule and a timeline. We're enforcing that, and then we're trying to get those posted with Madison, and the mayor's been doing social media video. We're really trying to get that information out. We're trying to hold the contractors' feet to the fire and trying to get their signs inspected. And, yep.
Still don't have any idea when they're gonna shut down Main Street for Center Run, part of Main Street.
Main Street for Center Run. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dry Creek Bridge. So no, we have there are the gaskets that go between the concrete of the bridge and the concrete of the approach slab. The contractor thought they had been delivered, they had not. So we are waiting on that material to be delivered. And then they are required to give us 2 weeks heads up because this is a super load route. So we'll hold them to that. When they say, hey, we're coming tomorrow, I'm like, hey, no.
So Dusty Street, we'll know as it comes.
Yeah, so, well, that's South Main Street by Wendy's at the Dry
Then
Creek.
there's the Dusty Street up by,
Yeah, that also has an additional closure to do the utility work because we'll have to tie in storm, sanitary, and water into Sandusky Street. So that will be additional closures, and then they have to give us notice to stop the superload transports.
all right,
So,
Good.
appreciate
But-
the update.
But let me say for South Main Street, it is 4 lanes. We're only going to close the outside lanes. So the center 2 lanes, there will be 24 feet of usable. South Main Street will be open. It's just where we're working on the sidewalk and the damage to the bridge. The east and the westmost lanes are the ones that will be closed. So
Hopefully before school opens.
yeah, hopefully, yes. I agree with that.
All right,
All right.
Hey,
Thank
thanks
you, Mr.
again.
Ball.
Thanks for requesting this, Mel.
Yes.
we're gonna adjourn the Street and Public Buildings Committee, and we're now in recess until 7:30 PM. We begin the legislative portion of the meeting. That's a yes.
Well, it wasn't on, and all of a sudden it came on.
Can you hear me now? Am I projecting? All right.